Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn some basic CSS3 properties like border radius, box shadow, and text shadow. Stay tuned. Now in this tutorial, we are going to first discuss about border radius. Here are some of the examples of this property, like this border radius. As we can see over here, this has a slight little slope in the diagonal corners, and in the last end this slope is a little bit more, and here it has actually not any kind of border radius right over here. So this is what we are going to learn. On the other hand, this is a big circle, and this box, it has two ends, this border radius properties, but the other two ends, those are free of it. So all we are going to do, we are going to learn about it. That is why we will be getting back to our project, and here this is the div which is related to this border radius property, which will be related to this border radius property, and all of them that we are about to discuss over here. And here are three boxes side by side. If we come back to this index.html, we can see that this is the div with a class name of shadow properties, and inside we have produced three boxes. And in this stylesheet.css, all we had done, we had prepared some class names, that means the selector names, and we have attributed all those properties inside, and that is how we have built all those particular elements. Those will be needed in this purpose. As we can see, we have used this particular associative property. We have conjugated them into a particular area, into a particular syntax actually. And this is the shadow box 1, shadow box 2 and shadow box 3. All of them will be following these common properties over here, like this background color, this width, height, margin left. So all will be following all these properties. But after that, some of these properties will be different, and that is why they've been depicted bottom below. Now in attributing the border radius property, the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to create this one, border radius. Now a border radius value, it actually accepts 4 parameters inside. So this is the first parameter, and this is the top left corner. In the second case, this is the second value or parameter, which is at the top right corner. In the next case, this will be the bottom right corner, and this will be the extreme bottom left corner. So a rectangle, it practically has 4 sides, and all of these parameters, those are representing these 4 sides. The intention of providing all these parameters is practically to provide a particular slope to all those corners such that they seem to be somehow rounded, and that is why we have provided it. Now if we press Ctrl S and get back to our project and reload, we can see that for this first box, for this first square over here, it is having 10 peaks of flat parameters, of flat values for each of these sides. Now if we replace all those parameters with this value, 10 peaks, pressing Ctrl S, getting back to our project and reloading, we can see that the value remains the same. There's absolutely no change in it. So that is why we can descend down to the conclusion that all these 4 values, if they somehow are having the same values, then they can be summoned to a single one, and all of them will be following the same particular value as it has been depicted over here. Now in the second case, if instead of 10 peaks flat, if we use here another value for this one and another value for this one, but if we omit the 4th parameter, what will be the outcome? Let's get back to our project and reload, and we can see that in the first case, it is practically following this 10 peaks, then it is following this 20 peaks, then again it is following this 30 peaks. But as we can see here, that in this particular case, another rounded corner is appearing, which is been omitted over here. So we can say that this second value, it is practically applied to the top right corner. The third value, it practically is applied to the bottom right corner. But in the fourth case, this fourth parameter, it practically accepts the same value which is being applied to the top right corner. So if we now press F12 and if we select this particular element, we can see here that this is the border radius property, and there comes the values. This border top left radius, it is practically executing at 10 pixels, border top right radius 20 pixels, border bottom right radius is 30 pixels, and in the last case, which is been omitted in the syntax, this border bottom left radius, it is practically executing the same value which is being applied to the top right radius. So if we want this one to appear as a flat surface, as a flat corner, then all we need to do, we need to mention this particular value over here. And if we now reload, we can see that it seems okay and there's absolutely no problem. In the similar fashion, if we omit this particular last two values and if we reload, we can see that this will be the outcome, and in that case the diagonals, that means this top left corner and this bottom right corner, they will be having equal value of 10 pixels and 10 pixels, and on the other hand this top right corner and this bottom left corner, they are practically having equal values over here. So in every cases, if we want to have flat corners around, then we need to mention it over here as the third and the fourth parameter. So this will be following over here throughout. As we can see in the last case, if we are supposed to make a circle out of this particular rectangle, then all we need to do, we need to mention the percentage length over here. That means instead of this pixel value, all we need to do, we need to mention the percentage right over here. And if we now reload, we can see that the rectangle is now turning into a circle. And in every cases, all we need to do, we need to mention this hack codes over here.